order. Before that, you heard Identity by X-Ray Specs and The Hawk by the Melvins. Yeah, embarrassingly enough, I picked a bunch of songs that had either Tony in the title or Hawk in the title. So that was one. And the guys were like, I can't believe you're doing that.
This will be the last radio show he ever does.
Yeah. We're going to have to fire him.
Yeah, so in the break, I was telling you I had a couple Tony Hawk stories. The first one is my son got Pro Skater.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah, #1 years ago when it was, a disc that you put into your Mac. And I was trying to teach him the skateboard at the time, and I was getting irritated. He actually learned to kickflip by watching the videos, which was great. But
wait, by watching the videos of on the game?
Yeah, by watching,
that's impressive.
He would practice flipping on the game and watch the feet, and he learned how to kickflip from that.
Wow.
But I would say, no, go outside and skate. And we had a half pipe in the yard, and I would kick him out. And then I would get angry, and I'd look at the game, and I started playing it. And I got so addicted to it. And I think I even had to use the up and down arrows of the keyboard to play the game. And it was that archaic for me. Wow. And so I built up this big score. And one day the computer crashed, and I lost everything. And I was just heartbroken. So it was the end of my life.
The one version of, I guess it was Xbox, that you had the skateboard that you stood on, that you had to like wave your hand in front of the sensors and make it. Man, I still got it. I actually have that board hanging in my garage just because it was such a moment in time of when Xbox was playing with sensory versions of games. Games.
I mean, there were some issues with that, obviously, and we were on a timeline of getting that game out before the technology was ready, to be honest. So the bummer was
that thing all the time.
Yeah, the bummer was that it kind of got panned, obviously, a lot of those reasons. And then when we came out with the second one, that was the game I was really hoping for. It was called Shred.
Yeah.
And it worked much better with the controller. And by then, just having other devices was gone. Like people were throwing away Guitar Hero. What I mean? So it was like we finally got
the fad was over
to work properly, and then it was like, no, that wave is over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. My other Tony Hawk story is my mother-in-law, when I was still married, called the family over and said, we have something to tell you, and it's going to change your life. We have something that we need to present to you, and your life's never going to be the same again. And they just built it up like, oh my gosh, what is this? And I'm going to get out of debt. I'm going to pay my mortgage off.
It sounds more like an intervention, but I guess that's just where my mind goes.
It may have been. So we go, and it's for my son, who is still an avid skateboarder, and we get to their house, and they just keep building it up. There's all this tension, and there's this mystery, and they won't tell us what it is. No, we're going to eat dinner first. So we eat dinner. It goes on and on and on. And so finally they said, okay, everybody gather in the living room. And so we gather in the living room, and the mother-in-law comes out with something behind her back, and she pulls it out, and it's an autographed skateboard deck with your autograph on it.
Oh,
but it's got like 500 skaters' autographs on it.
Yeah.
And but yours was the most prominent, which is freaking cool. We still have it, but my son,
it's not changing your life, but
it's not changing our life. I mean, I'm so happy that we have this deck. My life has not changed.
Yeah.
So I just went home and went back to my construction job and pay my bills.
But could it change your life if you might have been able to sell it and then like take a week off work? I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
I don't want to sell it though. It does. My brother-in-law was at some conference in Los Angeles, and I mean, it's got that. Who's that surfer? Kiko. I can't think of his name. I think he's
Kai Lenny.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, he's on
amazing.
there. Everybody's on there. So it was a cool gift, but it did not change my life.
So I'm going to shout out to a former coworker, Dave Leahy in Ireland,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he and I worked together for over a decade, and he used to have this joke. He was like, "Yeah, you and I are the two coolest guys that work at Skillsoft because we're the only two skaters." and how I even found out that he was a skater. There was a group photo of him on our company website, and he's wearing a Thrasher t-shirt. So I just private messaged him like, "Dude, do you ride a skateboard?" And then he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Cool, I do too." And so we ended up becoming good friends. And then he ended up being like kind of our program manager for the team that I work on. But I'm sitting at home working one day, minding my own business, and UPS shows up, gives me a box, and it was when you visited him, I guess last year or some point, and you'd given his son Dylan a skateboard. Well, you'd given him an extra deck, and he mailed it to me, so it's now hanging on my wall.
Oh,
and,
cool.
And so shout out.
Also, not changing your life, but cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a conversation piece when people come to my house, and my office in my house is all skateboard. It's the one room that my wife was gracious enough to let me do whatever I wanted to do in there, and it shows. It's all
Dave,
skateboard.
he's such a beacon for Ireland and skateboarding in Ireland. And
he's the coolest.
I think he was probably, he was young, but he's probably one of the reasons that we ever even got to go there. I went there with Ray Underhill. And we did what I think was the first US pro demo in Dublin.
Yeah, and the documentary that he produced is really, really, really good too. It's about the scene and how it started and became in Dublin. So it's really good. So
what's it called?
Oh, Dave's gonna kill me for not
knowing.
Come on. Something Street. Because it's about the road that it started on. Okay. Sorry, Dave. I hope he said he was going to listen, so I hope he's listening. And
maybe he'll message.
Maybe he'll message me and be like, "You're an idiot."
that way I can know what to watch.
Was it Hill Street?
Yes, Hill Street. That's it.
Go.
Yeah. So yeah, when we first met at work, he sent me a copy of that DVD, and
you need to pull up the 10 questions.
Oh, you want to do 10 questions? You want to do it online?
Yep. Also, like, what is your go-to? I know you've got this great ramp, but what is like the old school? Is there a ditch or an old pool or a?
He's got the $1 million ramp.
I know, but
my ramp is my happy place. I was literally I was skating there 2 hours ago.
I mean, it's everybody's happy place.
And watch what you wish for, though, because when you have a perfect ramp, if you go anywhere else, it sucks. And you have to adapt and you have to figure it out. It takes me a long time to start skating other places.
Yeah.
And when we were growing up, everything was kind of terrible. And I didn't realize what an advantage that was.
Yeah.
Because I could skate anything. It's funny, just like my son Riley, he skated the Carlsbad skate park growing up. And if anyone knows about the actual Carlsbad skate park, the transitions are terrible. The angles are bad. The ledges are weird. The banks are too steep. But he and his homies all figured it out. And they're some of the best street skaters these days. All these guys like the Chef Dogs and Figgy and Tanner Cribbs and all those guys, they grew up skating this terrible park.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, East Coast was so bad in the 80s. Everything was janky.
I've seen videos of Ray skating half pipes that just don't even look like they're going to hold up.
I mean, the half pipe I grew up on at one point had a rot hole on one wall, like right where where the flat met the transition, and we cut it out at one point and then stole some 1/2-inch plywood and got it to bend to fill in the rot hole. And then the next time that we layered it, it would fit over it. But yeah, I think that by the end of that ramp, it had 5-6 layers of plywood on it. It was ridiculous.
Oh yeah. And then the transition starts to change.
Well, yeah.
Coming in on it.
Ours started.
I had the same thing with my vert ramp. Like we just kept replying it until the point where I was like, wait a second, there's way less vert on this thing.
Yeah. Well, and one wall started sinking into the mud a little bit. It wasn't vert because there was so much weight on it.
We're all better for it.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
That's the fun thing about backyard ramps, though. Yeah. I mean, everything you have to adapt when you get there.
I remember the first time I took a road trip to Virginia Beach, and Trashmore was in rough shape, but they had Lynn Haven down the road, and Lynn Haven was metal, and it was, I mean, that had to be 91, 92, something like that. And Lynn Haven was in great shape. And there was a bunch of locals when we happened to show up, and we showed up and had a really good session. And I just remember thinking, man, these guys have it made. They've got a perfect metal half pipe.
Well, my kid, he lives in Highland Park now, and he just appreciates growing up in the humid South. You know, he learned to do all these tricks out here.
Oh yeah,
and out there it's butter.
Yeah, it's like boot camp.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to segue into we're going to do 10 questions with Tony Hawk here. So Tony, don't worry, these are all super easy questions. We've had everybody that we come in contact with that'll give us the time of day. We do this with them. So here we go. Okay. First question: when did you start skating?
1978.
All right. What was your first real skateboard?
Oh, how do you define real? My first board was a hand-me-down from my older brother.
That's and
it's in the Smithsonian. It was a Bain fiberglass with wooden block riser pads and some unnamed wheels and trucks that were pieced together from something else. I don't even know.
That's awesome.
But it became my transportation to school. That's really how I started. I just started riding it to school.
Well, next time you talk to your brother, thank him for giving you a skateboard.
Oh yeah. Actually, it was always weird because, I mean, we donated it to Smithsonian, but I had to ask his permission, first of all, which thankfully he said yes. But I recently found a complete, almost exactly like it, and I bought it. I bought it for myself to replace mine. And then his birthday was coming up, and I'm looking at this box, this that I just received in the mail, and I was like, I got to give it to my brother.
Oh, wow.
I sent it home to him.
All right, so the next question, I think we've covered this one. What's your favorite skate spot?
Oh, my ramp, all day, every day.
All right, so
catch me there.
What's your worst slam?
Well, I'd like to say breaking my leg, but I was fully aware of what was happening, and it wasn't really life-threatening. I mean, it is a shock to the system when you realize your limb is detached and dangling behind you. But my worst slam was that loop on the jackass thing, because I got a crazy concussion, and it lingered for probably like 3 weeks after that, where I was getting migraines. I broke my pelvis, I broke my thumb, I fractured my skull right here, but really, like, that it was truly life-threatening, and there was concern that I was going to have long-term effects from it.
Well, we're glad you did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, next, what's your current setup? What are you riding right now?
I ride an 8.8 with 169s and 60 millimeter wheels.
Awesome. All right, so
169, is that right? Yeah.
For an 8.8, that's about right. 159.
Yeah.
All right, so who is your favorite skater?
Oh, that is like such an unfair question.
You can have more than one, right?
Yeah, you don't have to give us one.
I have so many. I mean,
we get this questions all over the place.
Rodney is the godfather of modern skating. He was my favorite skater when I was coming into my own, because he was kind of the only one I could identify with. And he and I bounced so many tricks off of each other. So, I mean, for sure, he's at the top of the mountain. If I had to pick other skaters, wow, there's just so many. I mean, and the people that I skate with on a regular basis, like Andy McDonald, Jimmy Wilkins, Reese Nelson. I love Moda Shibata. I feel like he's blending old and new. Obviously, these are all vert skaters, but regardless. And I have a slew of favorite street skaters, but my oldest son being one of them. I mean, I remember when I remember when he surpassed me in skill, just overall skill, because we were skating a little ledge that was on a pyramid, and he asked me how to do frontside kickflip tail slide, and I was like, I wish I knew. Like, I'm honored that you asked me that, but I have no idea. And then he learned it.
Oh wow, awesome! That's so great. Yeah.
All right. So next, probably an easy question: street or vert?
At this age, I'll take knee slides over running out of anything.
Amen to that. Yeah. People don't get how much grace there is with knee pads. All right. So what's your favorite trick?
I think it's a backside ollie. I just always loved the idea that you can get airborne, like truly airborne in the realm of vertical or bowl skating without grabbing your board. Like that was always just amazing to me. And, you know, some people have amazing frontside ollies. I don't, but I can blast a backside ollie. And so I love that I can control my board with my feet in the air, like 6 feet up, and still feel like I can know exactly where I'm going to land. Yeah. I don't know. There's something pure about it. And it's fascinating to me that we ever figured out how to not grab our board.
All right. So what's your best skate trip you've ever been on?
Wow.
I know you're probably the one guy that's been on enough to where it's hard.
No, I'll tell you what, Ray Underhill and I planned our own trip. I think it was maybe 88 or 89. We were on tour. We were doing the Bones Brigade tour, and you know, it's just endless demos every day. It's shop or a demo, and it was like exhausting. And we're skating their mini ramp, which gets old, but it was fun and whatever. But I told him, why don't you and I go on tour and we'll go to places that we want to go, and we'll just do it for footage. So we'll see if Powell will pay for it. We'll get Steve Sherman, who shot this photo right here, to shoot video, and then we'll just go to all these parks. And it was a tough sell with Powell. It was really hard to tell them that we want a budget to go travel and not do demos. But they finally agreed to it, and that is a segment in, I want to say, like Propaganda, maybe.
I was like,
where he and I were skating
of the video.
Yeah, so he and I were skating in Vancouver. We were skating the crazy mini ramp set up at the Richmond Skate Ranch. We went to Phillips Park in Dallas. We went to Trashmore. That's where I did frontside ollie to front board across the channel. Wow. It was from that video. We went to Stone Edge.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that was fun because we were on our own terms. So it was more like, you know, we had Daddy Warbucks paying for everything. And then we could just do what we wanted as long as we came back with video. And that was what it was. So that was like the first time that was like a video mission.
Awesome. All right. Well, so we got one question left, and it is, what is your next skate trip?
I'm going to Phoenix pretty soon. To do an appearance, and even though it's not a skate trip, I'm going to go hook up with Jaws and go skate with him.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Are his teeth okay? Oh, man, that was the worst thing I ever saw in my life.
Oh, because in his entire job. Do you know how he fixed that?
No.
He just pulled them back out.
Oh gosh.
Oh. So his jaw was like out of place. He grabbed his entire, I think it was his front teeth, and he pulled his jaw back into place, and it healed there.
Oh my gosh.
That's hardcore, man.
That's gotta be the
skateboarding
punkest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, we're all like wannabe medics.
All right.
Well, we're gonna go back to some music. You're listening to RadioKCM, Kickturn Party. This is radio for the community
by the community.
We'll be back momentarily with Tony Hawk.
Kickturn Party tonight. Kickturn Party tonight.